Throughout the history of the NBA, we've seen some great moments, some iconic moments. That's why we're all fans of the game, for those legendary times that we can look back on and say we saw that happen live. So today, we're looking at the 10 most iconic in-game moments in NBA history. In the future, I'll be doing a video on the 10 most iconic moments in NBA history in general, so make sure to stay subscribed so you can check that out. And I tried not to fill this list up with too much Michael Jordan, so I included a few of his moments, but I'm going to give him his own video in the future too. And this list was hard enough to decide the top 10 already, so for the most part, it's in no order. But first, any game you attend, there's a chance that a legendary moment could happen. So instead of missing out on that chance, check out SeatGeek, the app that's the best place on the internet or anywhere to get tickets to sport events, concerts, Broadway shows, or pretty much anything. They do it by aggregating tickets from all over the web to make buying simple and find you the best deal. But not only that, they score each deal to let you know how good it is. Green's good and red's bad. SeatGeek even shows you a view from your seat inside the arena. So go check it out by using the link in the description, then use my code SWEAT with 2 T's for $20 off your first order. Now back to the video. Number 10, Dr. J's Cradle Dunk. When we're talking about in-game moments, there's no denying that this is one of the most iconic. In my opinion, it's right above Jordan's Cradle Dunk. It's one of the very few non-poster dunks that stands out in NBA history. It's about the fact that it's such an amazing highlight, and it wasn't even a dunk on another player, it was just the pure athleticism and creativity of Dr. J. The dunk took place in 1983 in a game against the Los Angeles Lakers. When a tipped pass by James Worthy was stolen by Dr. J, in a full sprint down the court, he picked up the ball at about the 3-point line and cradled it in his arms before rocking it back and forth and slam dunking it in, coming close to almost putting Michael Cooper on the biggest poster of all time. Number 9, the Ray Allen three-pointer.
Three, won't go, rebound Bosh, back out to Allen, his three-pointer, bang! Tie game with 5 seconds remaining!
It's the most recent moment on this list, but it's one of the most unbelievable. Game 6 of the 2013 NBA Finals between the San Antonio Spurs and the LeBron-led Miami Heat. The Spurs were up 3-2 and just about to close out the NBA Finals. So much so that the Heat fans had already started leaving the arena. But with 18 seconds left, down by 3, Chalmers brings the ball down the court, passes it to LeBron, who takes the 3 and misses, but Bosh gets the offensive rebound. And remember, the Spurs had just taken Tim Duncan out of the game the play before. So Bosh passes it to Ray Allen, who backpedals and without zero hesitation, nails the 3 and sends the game to overtime. And once all the fans got word, the ones who hadn't already left the arena rushed back to their seats. But for the fans that did leave, they weren't allowed back in. They won the game and eventually won the 2013 NBA Finals. This was one of the most insane NBA Finals moments of all time, and one that bailed LeBron out of another loss in the finals. It looked like the Spurs were just about to put away the game, but that one shot gave the Heat the momentum to finish them off in that overtime and then in Game 7 at the Spurs home court. Number 8. Magic Johnson's baby hook shot.
He didn't shoot it, 5 seconds left. Magic down the middle, just what I thought. A hook shot at 12. Good! 2 seconds left. The Lakers take the lead.
It was Game 4 of the 1987 NBA Finals. The Lakers led the series 2-1, but in Game 4 in Boston, the Celtics had a 16-point lead at halftime. But LA fought back in the second half and closed the gap to being down by 1 with the ball and 7 seconds left to go. Magic caught the inbound, guarded by Kevin McHale, and then he hit him with the hesitation move, then drove into the paint. Both McHale and Robert Parrish went up to block the game-winning attempt, but Magic Johnson used a small version of his teammate Kareem's skyhook to shoot the ball right past the fingertips of both men. He hit the shot that would eventually be the game winner over 2 of the greatest front court players of all time. That shot was a pivotal point in that series and led to them winning the 87 Finals in Game 6. You gotta imagine if Magic misses that shot and the Celtics win, then the series is tied 2-2 and the Celtics have home court for 2 out of the remaining 3 games. This was the last series between Magic Johnson and Larry Bird and the last between the Celtics and Lakers for over 20 years. Number 7. The Shot by Michael Jordan.
Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win it! They win it! Set the Cleveland Cavaliers. Michael Jordan hits it at the
When you have a moment that's been nicknamed as simply The Shot, you know that it's one of the most iconic highlight clips of all time, and it definitely deserves to be. This was when the first round was a 5-game series instead of 7. The Cleveland Cavaliers had swept the Bulls in the regular season 6-0. In the first round, they exchanged wins. Chicago won games 1 and 3, and the Cavs won 2 and 4. So it came down to game 5. With 6 seconds left on the clock, Michael Jordan hit a jump shot to give the Bulls a 1-point lead. Craig Elo answered back by driving in for a layup and scoring with 3 seconds left. This is where the Bulls had the ball ready to inbound. Jordan was getting double teamed. He ran right, then cut left, caught the inbounds, pulled up, and hit the game-winning shot to close out the series as the clock hit 0. And that's when we saw this historic celebration with Elo falling to his knees in the background. Well, sort of. Because what makes it even more special is the fact that it's so popular, but it was never even showed to fans who watched the game live or on a replay that night. Instead, they got a view of the Bulls coach Doug Collins and Phil Jackson celebrating. The video of the actual celebration has lived on through replays after the live game, bringing it to where it is today. Number 6. Derek Fisher's buzzer beater.
They get it to Fisher. He scores! Derek Fisher scores at the buzzer!
That time Derek Fisher hit a buzzer beater in the playoffs with 0.4 seconds left will always be one of the most iconic buzzer beaters, as well as one of the buzzer beaters with the least amount of time left on the clock. It played out like this. It was game 5 of the Western Conference semifinals. The series was tied 2-2. The score was 72-71, and Kobe just hit a shot that left 11 seconds left on the clock. But now, after the ball was knocked out of bounds, it was inbounded to Tim Duncan with 5.4 seconds left. He tried to get open, but Shaq with the lockdown D, then the double team came, so Tim threw up a last second one-handed fadeaway that went in and left 0.4 seconds left on the clock, with the Spurs up by 1. The Lakers went to inbound, but Kobe was getting double teamed, so they tossed it to Fisher, who instantly turned around and threw up a shot that swished in as time expired. The Lakers won the game and then won the series. They should have lost it, but Fisher's miracle shot and quick hands got them the win. Number 5. Iverson crosses Jordan.
Iverson has Jordan. The crowd is into it. Allen shakes free. Gets 2!
This was one of the few instances where we saw the god disguised as Michael Jordan actually being a mortal man. It was AI's rookie season. He said he got the switch on MJ, then he gave him one cross to see if he'd bite, and he did. So he crossed him again and he got him. And then he hit the wide open jump shot. There weren't ever too many instances when someone actually made a highlight out of Jordan, but this was one of them. And the fact that it was a 19-year-old rookie Allen Iverson shows how great of a player he really was. Number 4. Reggie Miller scores 8 points in 9 seconds.
Miller for 3, and he got it. Reggie Miller with a clutch tray, and it's 105-102. And a steal. Miller retreats to the three-point line and hits again.
It was in game 1 of a playoff series between the Knicks and the Pacers. There was 18 seconds left on the clock, and the score was 99-105. It looked pretty much over. The Knicks were up when Reggie Miller caught a pass and made a 3, and then stole the ball on the Knicks inbound and hit another 3 straight away, tying the game. So that was 2 3-pointers within 3 seconds. The Pacers fouled John Starks, who is usually a great free throw shooter, but he missed both free throws. Then Reggie Miller catches the miss and makes 2 of his own, winning the game and scoring 8 points within 9 seconds. This was one of the most insane sequences in NBA history and still talked about today. It's a moment that you'd think could never be recreated. But that was until Tracy McGrady came along with 13 points in 35 seconds. I couldn't decide which one was better, so I just included both in number 4. But just think about that. A solid role player might get 13 points in 20 or 30 minutes of game time, but Tracy got it in less than a minute. He started it off by hitting a 3 through tight coverage, then coming back down the court, hitting another 3 and getting an and 1, and that's where you get a little surprised. But then he busts out of a double team and hits another 3, and that's where things just get crazy. And keep in mind, most of the Rockets fans already left the arena by now. But after that, Brent Barry's trying to inbound the ball, but then Devin Brown drops the ball, and this is where Tracy McGrady later said, when he saw Devin Brown drop the ball and it just rolled right to him, he knew it was meant to be. So down by 2, he runs up the court with 1.7 seconds left and hits his 4th straight 3 to win the game, and that's where that moment just becomes legendary. John Starks missing both of his free throws and the ball rolling straight to Tracy McGrady makes you think that those moments were just meant to be. Number 3. Larry Bird steals from the Pistons.
The ball to Detroit. Bird steals it. Johnson, layup, Boston, 1 second left.
It was the 1987 Eastern Conference Finals between the Boston Celtics and the Detroit Pistons. The series was tied 2-2. The Pistons had a 1-point lead in the last few seconds of the game. Isaiah Thomas was inbounding the ball, but Larry took his eyes off his man for a split second to look at Isaiah, and he saw him looking straight at Bill Laimbeer right before he released the pass. So Bird ran into the passing lane, stole the ball, almost fell out of bounds before saving himself, and then he threw a pass to Dennis Johnson, who was cutting right to the basket. He then hit a layup to take the lead with 1 second left on the clock. They won that game and went on to beat the Pistons in Game 7, before losing to the Lakers in the finals that included that Magic Johnson baby hook shot from earlier. So this moment by Larry Bird created another all-time iconic moment, but you gotta think if the Celtics would have lost that game, they would have been down 3-2 in the series against the Pistons. So there's a good chance they could have lost that series. So that one play by Larry Bird saved the entire series for them. Number 2, Havlicek's legendary steal.
He gets it out deep, and Havlicek steals it over the stand zone. Havlicek stole the ball. It's all over. It's all over. Johnny Havlicek is being mobbed by the fans.
This is one most of you probably have never seen or heard of because it took place back in 1965, back when conferences were called divisions. So it happened in the Eastern Division Finals in a series between Bill Russell and the Boston Celtics and Wilt Chamberlain and the Philadelphia 76ers. That between the two teams featured 9 future Hall of Famers. It was such an intense series that they alternated wins for every single one of the 7 games. But this moment came in the closing moments of Game 7. With the Celtics in the lead, in the last few minutes Wilt Chamberlain had scored the last 10 points. But they were still down by 3, so he hit a layup with only a few seconds left on the clock. Bill Russell went to inbound the ball, but when he threw it, it hit a wire that was hanging off of the basket, so they called it out of bounds. So now, down by 1, with seconds left on the clock, Philly was going to inbound the ball right under their basket. John Havlicek said he was guarding Philly's point guard, so when the play started, they had 5 seconds to inbound. Havlicek started counting to 5 in his head, and when he got to 4 and the ball still wasn't in, he knew it was about to come to the point guard right then, so the second he got to 4, he turned his head and saw the ball coming. He timed it perfectly and stole the ball to secure the win and the series for Bill Russell and the Celtics. Not only was this a great play, but it's been named one of the most iconic radio calls in sports history. Number 1. Jordan's final shot.
From Game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead!
There's no arguing that this is the most iconic in-game moment of all time. Michael Jordan ending his Bulls career with a crossover that sent Brian Russell flying, then nailing a game-winning jump shot to win the finals and end his career with his second three-peat. It truly was a perfect ending to the greatest player of all time's career. He ended his career with a game-winning jump shot the same way that he started it off in college. He had 45 that night, and it was a perfect combination of crossing up a player and not only hitting a jump shot, but a clutch one as the time was running out. The only thing that could have possibly made this moment better was if it was something like a game winner on a free throw line dunk. But seriously, not even the fact that he extended his career after this and came back for the Wizards could ruin this moment. So this was the 10 most iconic moments in NBA history. It's debatable on what really is the top 10, but this was the list I came up with. So if you enjoyed this, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you next video.